Welcome to a special video edition of Arkansas AgCast. I'm Keith Sutton with the Arkansas Farm Bureau, and today I'm visiting with my co-worker Mark Lambert, who is Director of Commodity Activities and Economics here at Farm Bureau. Welcome to AgCast, Mark.
Thank you. It's a welcome to be back, and we're back in the office, ready, running and gunning.
And there's a lot of stuff happening too. It seems like every day we learn about something new that's going on that's important for us to share with our farmers and ranchers. And that's really why we're here today. We've got 3 or 4 areas to talk about. And let's start by talking about the Paycheck Protection Program. Some people have heard that called PPP. Let's start there and tell folks a little bit about what that is and how that's changing as things evolve.
So the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, what it is it was originally thought up of at the beginning of this coronavirus to kind of help with the small businesses. Originally, it was to help the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, to help pay those workers that got laid off, that it wasn't because of their fault or anything. They got laid off, so it would help cover that payroll. Originally, like I said, ag wasn't thrown into it, and then agriculture was thrown into it. Recently, in the last couple weeks, they came out with some new rules to which extended all the deadlines for that. Instead of 8 weeks, the coronavirus, we thought it was going to be 2 weeks, and then it went to 8 weeks, and now we're figuring out that it's going to be a lot longer than that for these people to get back on their feet. So that's what originally the PPP program was about.
And so there's some good news, though, for those who might take advantage of that program, because those deadlines have changed. They've got a longer time. Talk about some of the changes that have come about just in recent days.
So some of the changes, like I said, it was to extend some of those deadlines. It originally was limited you to 75% of that original program, to where you'd have to pay your payroll on with 75% of your loan to have it forgiven. And now they kind of cut that deadline to 60-40. Other eligible expenses, and if you met that criteria, then you would file for your forgiveness on that loan, and it would actually be forgiven. If you didn't meet that criteria, pretty much you'd have a 1% loan from the USDA. Payback was originally 2 years. They extended that out to 5, and you could expend your funds. Originally, like I said, it was 8 weeks. And now they cut it to 24, and they actually pushed the hiring date back to where you could hire your employees back. So not knowing what the coronavirus would do, pretty much they just took the deadline and moved it on.
So they're being flexible. They're looking at things as we go along and try to make this work better for our producers, right?
Right. And agriculture, it was, and some producers actually took advantage of this to help with that payroll implications there, that they were trying to do their social distancing, and they needed that. So a lot of guys, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, and then all the funds ran out. They extended it more in another week or 2 weeks, and all the funds had run out again. So USDA has actually expended these funds, giving them back to these guys now.
And we're talking about a significant amount of money too for Arkansas. What are we looking at?
The report came out last week. There was about 41,000 loans. 3.3 billion came into Arkansas. In which the average loan size was about 80 to 81,000, well below the national average of $113,000. So that was Arkansas is a very small state.
But that's still significant. If you're a producer and you can get an $80,000 loan, that's better than not having something to help you. So.
Absolutely.
So we also got another program that we want to talk about, and that's the CFAP program. Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that entail?
So what this entails is it's taken into effect that price movements throughout this coronavirus, whether it be exports have slowed down, production, because right now you're starting to look at high prices typically, and that's gonna say, hey, I'm gonna plant X amount of acres of whatever it may be. Livestock was extremely affected by price movements because of the way that they're priced. Those factories were shutting down, so so I guess the coronavirus food assistance program, what it is it would take that 5% loss of your price, and what that would do, it would almost, I guess it's a bad word, it would almost make you whole again, or it would take effect on those price losses. So
We've had about, according to the latest figures that are out last week, 86,000 farmers who've applied for payments, and again, a substantial amount of money, right?
Right. I think last Thursday it was 86,000 farmers that have applied for these, and about $560 million. That's as of last Thursday. Arkansas producers, I was on the phone last week with somebody, and they were saying, hey, how can I put, what do I need to do on this? I said, well, you need to look at your inventory that you had at risk as of January the 15th, and then you need to look at your production, take those into the USDA office, and they'll say, this is what we can pay it out on. It's 50% of your production or your total inventory that was at price risk multiplied by that certain payment rate on that certain commodity.
And some folks may be a little bit leery about difficulties they might have making all this happen, but there's people out there that can help them with this. Who would you go to for the CFAP program? Where would you get more information?
You can go on USDA's website, or you can look at Arkansas Farm Bureau's website. We've put up a few things. They have webinars every Monday that tells you what you need to be doing, how you need to be doing it. Or you can go to your local USDA office.
And let's back up a little bit and tell them also, if they're interested in more information on the Paycheck Protection Program, where would they find that?
That program, you can just go to your local bank. You can, whoever you've been dealing with, you can go talk to your local lender. They probably signed you up to begin with, and they can kind of guide you and hold your hand throughout that whole program.
And we got one other thing we want to talk about. It's a little bit shorter. Rate snapshot. Tell folks what that's all about. That's kind of different.
So I guess the great thing about the coronavirus that you could, if there's anything good about it, borrowing's cheaper right now. World markets kind of hit the tank as the brakes got slammed on the economies throughout the world, and what that did is our unemployment shot sky high. But as I was looking at it last week, some of our interest rates, your 10-year interest rate, your 30-year interest rate, that's pretty much half of what it was this time last year. A lot of people are looking at refinancing. And then another thing is like I've mentioned before, the unemployment rate. I think it dropped 7 points last week, which is a great thing. People are coming back to work. The economy's starting to maybe not push their foot on the gas, but they're at least putting it in drive again. So that's the great thing about it.
So it might be time to take another look at those loans and the interest rate and see if you can get a better deal.
Yeah, borrowing's cheaper. So.
Well, Mark, we appreciate you being with us on AgCast today. Thank you for all the information.
Thank y'all for having me.